Shalom Aleichem and welcome to Online Smicha. Today we'll discuss halacha on this week's Parsha, Parshat Shoftim. By the title of the name, by the title of the Parsha, you know that it talks about judges and many details of who is qualified, what a judge should be like, is discussed right in the beginning of the Parsha. And the Torah says that you have to place Shoftim v'Shotim b'chol sharecha. And it says in Chassidish Svarim that it's something that it's a parsha that's always read around Chodesh Elul to remind us that we have to have a shofet and a shoter for our sha'arim, our mouth, our thoughts. But the details of the halacha is that a shofet has to be very careful in how he judges. Lo yisata mishpat, he shouldn't bend any rule. Lo yisakir panim, he shouldn't show any favoritism. And he should not take shoichad, commonly translated, no bribery. One who takes shoichad, it blinds the eyes of the wise, it confuses the words of a tzaddik. When you feel obligated towards somebody because you took a bribe, nothing is right. And Rashi says, but the Gemara says, even if you're going to take shaykhad, and your rule, your psak din will be a good one, but something is wrong, something goes wrong when you feel obligated towards one person. Now, there's a whole set of rules in Shulchan Aruch, how you sit in front of a bezdin, and the Balei Dinim shouldn't feel as if one side is getting more of a fair chance and they're not getting as much of a chance. The Bezdin has to be careful not to show covet for one side versus the other side. It has to be equal chance, 50-50, as it's discussed in Pirkei Avos too. The Or HaChaim HaKadosh says a beautiful analogy, a beautiful way how to be careful that when you're about to judge a mishpat, how you come about not to show any favoritism. So the Or HaChaim HaKadosh says like this. The word in the Torah is lo yisata mishpat, and you have to do a mishpat tzedek. Mishpat tzedek. What is the mishpat tzedek? Explains the Or HaChaim HaKadosh that you hear the stories. When you come to discuss this amongst by yourself, you as the dayan, as the shofet, the shoter, you want to see how to analyze this. You have to discuss this concept as if there's nobody there. And in the words of the Or HaChaim, Ki kishiyirtza lamed hadayin al mishpat ha'anoshim asher lehem ariv. When the dayan, the judge, wants to accurately figure out what's the right approach here. This is how it should be. He should remove in his eyes, in his mind, who, what, when. He should only think about it as if it's a theoretical discussion in halacha. He's learning a halacha in the Torah. And the halacha in the Torah, what does the Torah think about such a thing? As if nobody's here in front of him. Once he, in his mind, came to a certain conclusion about such a theoretical halacha, then he comes back to reality and he sees that there are two people here who are exactly discussing the same issue that he was in his mind talking about in principle in the Inyan Shel Torah, and then he could say mishpat, which was already tzedek. He'll give a final say, a final psak din, which he knows is tzedek because he just studied this topic and the topic told him what the right approach should be. But then he goes on to say, Ubederech remez, we find the pasuk says, Yishpoit tevel b'tzedek, that Hashem judges the world b'tzedek. And the Or HaChaim HaKadosh says, what is b'tzedek? B'tzedek is usually referred to the Beis Din HaElyon, the Batei Dinim and Shemayim. They judge the table, they judge the world, who deserves what, Hopefully we all deserve brachas, v'atzlachas, v'chulu. Who is the tzedek? That is the Bati Dinim Shel Ma'ila. Says the Orach Chaim HaKadosh that when a person is about to say a psak din in a court, in a debate, a dispute that's happening in front of him, Hinei Shoftim HaMishpat Atzmai Shashafat Bezdin Elyon. What does it mean, Mishpat Tzedek? The same thing. You are going to hand down the final word that Mishpat Tzedek, that Bezdin Elyon told you to do. Who is Bezdin Elyon? The Torah. So you have to look at any dispute taking place in front of you as the dispute is something which is coming out to reality, what I already know from Torah. But then the pasuk goes on and speaks about what confuses the dayan. It's not so straight, and that is when he accepts sheikhad. So you know that we are told, and Chazal tell us, how a dayan has to be extremely careful not to take sheikhad. What are the extreme ways of taking sheikhad? There's obviously money in the hand, bribery, but then there is just being nice. Just one of the dayanim, one of the people in the court just said a nice hello, or your shoes are so nice. It's told about different dayanim that never accepted a ride from anybody, because who knows if eventually this person will ever sit in courtroom in Bezdin in front of him, and he'll feel like he owes him a payback for the favor that he did. So sheikhad is very, very delicate. But why is the word called sheikhad? So it's explained in Chazal. Sheikhad is shehu chad. Shehu chad has three interpretations, says the Kli Yakar. Number one, shehu chad. It makes you chad. Chad is one. If you accept bribery, you and the person, you the one who accepted the bribery, and the person giving the bribery become as one. And just like you'll never paskin anything against yourself, you will not paskin against somebody who's one with you. Shehu chad. Another interpretation of sheikhad, lashon chidud, sharp. What does it mean? It's very sharp. So the Kli Yakar says, it's like a sharp blade. Ki hamamoin, because money, bribery, doima l'sakin mechudod. It's compared to a very sharp knife. Hachoitech mehera. A sharp knife cuts through very quick. This dayan, when he took a bribery, we already know what the outcome will be. It's a quick cut answer, because that's what sheikhad does. And the third thing, he says, chad is like a cherev chad rachman al-Islan, a sharp sword. Chazal tell us that everything in the world is dependent on the justice of the batei dinim, of the mishpatim. And if somebody takes bribery, rachman al-Islan, he twists the truth of the mishpat. So rachman al-Islan, troubles happen. As the Mishnah in Pirkei Avos says, that because of evil hadin, the crooked piskei dinim and din, people don't paskin correctly because they were bribed or they were confused. Rachman al-Islan, troubles happen. So a person before he answers a psak din, it has to be b'mesinus, has to be slowly durchgetracht, and it has to be no strings attached. It has to be as if this is a topic that he just learned. But yet, as halach and Shulchan Aruch is, you shouldn't allow this to drag out too long. That's not fair for the two people standing in din, but it has to be durchgetracht and answered properly. Yasher koyach. Please join us again next week.